Welcome to Dad Talk Today. The podcast for dads facing some of the toughest moments of their lives. We are here to walk with men through divorce, keep them connected to their kids, help them understand their rights, and work for change in family law courts. Moms, you are always welcome too. We are all about advocating for shared parenting and doing what is best for our kids. Here is your host, Eric Carroll.
Hey everybody, this is Eric Carroll with Dad Talk Today. I am here with State Senator Anthony Bouchard. Anthony, how you doing?
Hey, doing pretty good.
Yeah, so you're the state senator for Wyoming, and you're running for a second term?
Actually, I'm already in my second term.
You're in your second term? Awesome. I know that you are really passionate about the fatherless issue. It seems like you know a little bit about what we're going through right now. Could you talk a little bit about that?
You know, I've been through a lot of the process a long time ago, and it's really a shame that a lot of states haven't picked up on the fact that we need shared custody. And what happens is we have attorneys that end up shuffling the kids through the process more for a profit structure than for the best interest of the kids.
That's exactly what it is. You know, it seems like the kid has become almost like a product because they know the parent will pay, and the amounts of money that these men are spending, women as well, I've seen it on the other side, but the amount of money that they're spending is just astronomical. And I believe that's the breakdown of the nuclear family, and that's why you're seeing the problems that we're seeing today in society.
Well, I think you're right. I think that government has treated the family as a second class, and I'm looking for the right word, but a second class entity, and the government has taken the place. And it seems like they really don't care about a two-parent family, and that's the problem.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I mean, if we can, I don't want to sound conspiratorial, but it seems like more government becomes that replacement for what we value.
Yep.
I mean, we value the family as the nucleus of what our country was started. That's not what we have today.
It's definitely not. You know, I know we're trying to get some shared parenting legislation across the country with if both parents are fit, willing, and able, that upon divorce, if divorce happens, unfortunately it happens, we wish it didn't, and you know, I think marriage has been lost in the conversation too, but we should have a law there that mom and dad should have equal custody upon divorce. Would you support something like that?
Yeah, I mean, I see states, what they'll do, and as a matter of fact, I had someone just the other day talk to me about how one parent was allowed to move out of state with a child. Yep. And I'm talking not just, from Wyoming to Pennsylvania. And then we have just a total separation of a parent. It's criminal.
So I'm glad you mentioned that. We had a parent just 2 weeks ago. He had been fighting in the family law courts for 3 years. He had faced a false allegation. He had proved his innocence in every way he possibly could, was fully exonerated. And he actually went through a false allegation of domestic violence. They went and got the cameras, found out he didn't even get nowhere near the lady. So there was going to be a temporary restraining order towards her. She fled North Dakota, went to Idaho, and because she went across state lines, it was about to start all over again. So he finally got custody and was supposed to get the kids for the first time 2 weeks ago. And when he showed up to the designated meeting spot, they murdered him. His ex-father-in-law shot and killed him. And this is the type of stuff, parents are starting to lose their lives. I'm hearing of the children that are getting killed. Sometimes before the custodial parent will give the non-custodial parent any type of custodial rights or hand them over, they'll kill themselves and kill the kids. This is very dark stuff that's going on right now.
I've heard of domestic violence being used as a ploy just to cause more separation. I've seen things in other states where they have the mediator is in the middle of this, and they don't let them use charges or bring up allegations unless they can really prove things, because they know this happens. So you have structures in some states, and I'm sure it varies even in a state where you have one side of the state that maybe operates differently.
Right.
But I can tell you that if the bigger states that have mills, and I'm saying mills because there's just a lot of traffic going through there, they have to get a hold of it. They have to go, wait a minute, we can't just run these kids through and ruin their lives. And they have to take a reasonable approach to it. The problem that happens in the smaller states is you have a bar association that controls things. You have attorneys in the legislature that won't let anything change. And so, but like I agree, we need a change where equal parenting laws. It's kind of like it should be shall. We shall do this, unless there's something that we can really prove that there's an imbalance or a problem with the parent.
Right.
And you know, when these cases happen, you have two parents that are very passionate. And they have attorneys that are passionate, and they have money, right? That they just keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and the child loses.
Well, and you're taking two people that are in high conflict. There's a reason they want a divorce in the first place, and putting them together. Now you're putting them in family court. They're arguing over the car, the house, the dog, the kids, and we got to find out a better system. I mean, it's parents. They got to learn to do what they need to do for the kids, and having a system that promoted that would definitely go a long way. And I know perjury is against the law, but when we're talking about these false allegations, it seems like somebody can accuse you of anything, and even if they can prove their innocence, what happens to the person that made the false allegation?
If that.
There's no consequences.
Yeah.
There is no consequences. And we're seeing it in politics as well. It's not just family court. I mean, it's what we call is the silver bullet. And, you know, there's lots of different things we should probably tweak on that.
Well, we had a bill in, I mean, you know Zach Martin.
Yeah.
And he has a group in Wyoming. And he started a bill, got someone to do it in the House, and he came to me and said, would you support this? I said, sure I will, because then we discussed, you know, some of the things that I know personally that have happened. And it's kind of interesting. He got it in the House. It was killed basically because a lot of the people that told him, yeah, we support this, as soon as it gets, you know, some action, people will just jump off the ship.
All too common. It's going on with every one of the bills that we got.
Yeah, and it's not. Don't feel like it's just your issue. It's on everything. I mean, it could be a pro-gun bill. It could be any bill that's somewhat controversial. They'll jump off. They're like rats jumping off the ship.
Well, that's the problem. I think we look at constitutional rights, and now they become social issues. You know, these aren't social issues; these are constitutional rights. So, you know, and you're a well-known advocate for families and shared parenting, you know, in the state of Wyoming. So, you know, you look at, and the right to parent one's child is a constitutional right. So, you know, we have these. First Amendment is under attack. Second Amendment is under attack. You know, the 14th Amendment is barely enforced. And so, when you're dealing with these constitutional issues within your state, tell us about some of the legislation, some of the issues that you're facing right now.
Well, let me tell you about some of the things that do happen, because people need to understand that when you're dealing with an issue such as shared parenting, it seems like the machine wants to take away your First Amendment rights and once they crush those, you can't defend shared parenting. Or for instance, you can't share or protect the Second Amendment. I mean, there's just, everything is tied to that First Amendment. I mean, look, we have a case that I've been pushing, or not a case, but we've got the Chamber of Commerce that's been on the wrong side of the issue, even during my election. And they've got some issues that they don't like, where a 501c4 has free speech rights. They can, you know, they don't, as long as they're not talking about unelect or shall elect or vote for, you know, the key words, they're always talking about an issue. And they don't like it because that group's effective. They come out and make a bunch of noise, and I basically come back and say, look, let's go back to 1957, NAACP versus Alabama. And when you don't understand history, you're doomed to repeat where they're going to take you, how they're going to crush your First Amendment. And so people have to look, I mean, this is where parents that are going through your issues, they have to really look at all of the Bill of Rights and how important they are. Because if they take away one, they're going to take away the other. And let's look at gun rights and parents. I mean, next thing you know, and I can tell you, this is common, I've seen it myself, where they say, well, he has guns in the house. Next thing you know, they get a judge to make that an issue and take guns away. I mean, where does it stop? Where does it stop when we just say, wait a minute? I mean, it's usually never about just black and white. Do we have anything on this parent? On this parent? No. We're just trying to throw more accusations on top, and then before long we actually pollute the issue so bad. Now we've got even more hostile. We haven't taken the people back to a base where the government says, whoa, wait a minute. You're both parents.
Right.
Let's work at this, and let's have shared parenting. If the government's going to be involved, that's what it needs to do. It doesn't need to allow this back and forth, and who has more money to tear that child apart. So,
well, I'll tell you what, Senator, thank you so much, and you know, guys, here you go. I mean, he said he would support shared parenting. Make sure you get out there and make sure you support him. The ones that support us, that's the ones that we should be getting behind as well. So,
well, let me tell you about that. Liz Cheney is the single congresswoman in my state.
Oh, yes.
And it's really a big machine. Everybody says, well, she's in leadership.
Right.
If you go look at what leadership has done to our country, it's all been about let's raise money for the swamp and let's re-elect the people that are at the swamp level and bring them back to Congress.
Absolutely.
And we've lost sight of what representing the people. And look, I'm here at CPAC because I'm getting a CPAC award because I vote like a Republican, like a real conservative. Mm-hmm. And I consistently get an award for that. And not that I should even have to get that award. But at least somebody's tracking and paying attention. But I mean, if we don't take on these fights head on, Liz Cheney has raised a lot of money from the swamp in the past. She's going to raise more. Who knows? She'll probably raise $10 million. And so people need to go to Anthony for Wyoming, and at least get in the fight.
Because you're challenging her, is that right? You're challenging her.
Yes, I mean, I'm taking Liz Cheney on. I think I'll do a much better job of representing the people. And I think, you know, look, in the legislature, I caught myself one time licking my finger and saying, how should I vote? And I got mad at myself because you have to look at the merit of the bill. And I've decided that, and this was like my first year in the Senate. And I said, I don't care if I don't get elected again, because I'm going to vote on the merit of what I see in front of me. And what happened is when re-election came, I had the establishment against me. I had the current governor, the previous governor, the previous Secretary of State, my sheriff. Everybody was endorsing my opponent, and I won anyway. Then when it came to the general, I had a Democrat running. I had repeatedly, every other week, or every other day I should say, I had a lifelong Republican saying that they were supporting my Democrat opponent, and they spent 3 times the money against me, and I won again. Awesome. And so I think that we need to take Congress back the same way.
Absolutely.
I've fought the fights and I've won, and I'm doing this because I'm tired of losing at these upper level races.
Yes.
I can win. I'm going to fight to win.
Those that fight for us, we've got to fight for them, guys. We got to make sure that they stay in office. And I mean, whether you like politics or not, I've told the audience multiple times, that's how we get things changed. One more time before we leave, Anthony, tell them where they can find you again. Anthony4Wyoming.com. And you know, if you can't donate, just go sign up for our team, join up, and join with us in the fight. There you go. Everybody stick around. We'll be right back. Thank you for joining us tonight. We are fighting for the rights of parents worldwide. If you want to help support our podcast and for us to continue this mission, please join us at patreon.com/DadTalkToday. You will find us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, CloutHub, Parler, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spotify, the podcast app, Google, Apple Podcasts. We're a little bit of everywhere. And guys, every time you like and subscribe, you help us continue this mission. Thank you, and we will see you next time.